Morning everyone, it's another Wednesday, so another Facebook Live from me, and it's not a card and a cup a week, so I thought I would still hop on, and this week I thought I would show you how to make a very simple latch card. And I can hear you thinking, what on earth is a latch card? It's actually incredibly simple to make, and here is one that I've started to make. So this is a landscape one, and the idea is that you put a focal point on the right hand side which latches your front shut, and it's as simple as that. And believe it or not, she says it's very easy to make these. So I've got that one, so those are two landscape ones, and I haven't finished decorating them. And then I've also made two portrait ones. So, and again, these haven't been decorated, and that one. So I will talk you through how to make these. And as I said, they're very simple. I'm going to use the Ornate garden to decorate everything, because it's quick, simple, and I was going to say it doesn't take much thinking, but well, I guess that's kind of true in a way. But as I said, it's very easy to do. Okay, so let's start. Now, it's up to you when you're making these as to whether you want to make portrait or landscape. So I'm just going to show you how to make one of each. I'm going to put the paper to one side, and it's also up to you whether or not you're going to use Whisper White cardstock or coloured cardstock. So all my samples I've actually used Whisper White cardstock. So if you are using Whisper White as a base, you want to use the thick Whisper White, because then it's much thicker and much more suitable as a card base. So let's make the first one. So the first card base is I'm going to make a landscape one. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't much like tent fold cards, which is where the fold is along the top of the card. I much prefer to have my card folding with the fold on the side. So for this, I'm taking my A4 and I'm cutting it in half at 10.5 centimetres. So you can just about see, I think, that it's at 10.5. Okay, I'm then going to turn it, and I'm going to score it at 14.9. So let's move my cutting blade out the way, because I do not want to cut it. So I'm going to score it at 14.9. And then, using my technical terms again, you're going to lop off some from the right hand outer edge. It's up to you what you want to do, but mine, I have actually taken off 2 centimetres. So the nice thing about this trimmer is that I can either use the 2 centimetres here, I don't know if you can see it on this, 2 centimetres here, or the 2 centimetres on the top there. So I'm actually going to line it up with that 2 centimetres, because then I know that the rest of my card base is against the top of the trimmer, and I'm just going to take off that 2 centimetres. Now, you could keep that or you could throw it away. It's up to you. So now, when I fold my card and I burnish it, I obviously didn't score it very well because it's not that straight, which is not very good. There we go, and burnish it. So that is your basic card base. To decorate, you can either stick the designer series paper directly to the top, or you can mat it on some more cardstock. I'm just going to stick the paper directly to the Whisper White. So I need to cut 2 pieces, one piece for here and another piece to go here. Now I know that's 10.5, so I know that so therefore I need to have a piece that will be 10 centimetres wide to fit along there. And I'm going to use this paper from the Ornate Garden paper pack. You don't want to, well, you can use large images if you really want to. Personally, I think I prefer the smaller ones on this, but again, it's really up to you. So I know that I need to have it 10 centimetres going across. So I'm just going to cut a strip. It doesn't matter on the other side because it's as to which way it goes. So I'm just going to cut a 10 centimetre strip. Make sure it's lined up top and bottom so I know that it's straight. And then I need a piece that is, to go on here, that is 12.5 centimetres wide. And then that piece is 1.5 centimetres wide. So let's cut my 12.5 piece. So that's 12.5. Now I'd quite like my image to carry over from one side to the other. So I'm just going to place my 2.5. No, 1.5, sorry, not 2.5. My 1.5 centimetres here. As you can see, this is actually not that stable, so I'm actually going to cheat and turn the whole thing around so that I'm still cutting the piece that I want at 1.5. So when I turn that around, you can see that, lo and behold, I did it right. It matches exactly. So just so that you can see, perfect. Or lovely jubbly, or whatever it is that you like to say when you've actually managed to do something right. And then, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue that piece of paper to that side and that piece of paper to that side. She says, find a glue. I actually treated myself to a new bottle of glue this morning. I think everybody at home was getting fed up with hearing the thumping noise of me knocking it up and down on the table just to get the last dregs out. So I'm just going to glue that and stick it to the front there. And then I'm also going to stick this one with some glue. Don't need to go too mad. Make sure I've got it the right way around. Yeah, it goes that way, I think. No, it doesn't go that way. See, I turned it around. So, there we go. It goes that way. Nearly went wrong. So, there's that piece. So, that's going to get glued on there. Okay, so that is your base card. Now, it's up to you what you then do with it and where you put your latch. You can put it here, obviously not in the middle there because that's not going to hold anything, although, you know. So all I have done is I have punched out or die cut 1-inch circles. So that will go on to hold your front down. But what I have found is you don't want to centre this on here because you'll actually find it's really difficult to unlatch the card. You almost want it, well, you do want it on to line up on the edge of the piece of paper that you've already glued to the back of the card. So when it comes to gluing it, I actually would recommend that you use some dimensionals. And you only want them on, I wouldn't even say half, just put a little arch of them down one side. So I'm using the mini dimensionals for that because they're, wait for it, they're mini. They're small, they're nice and small, so you can just create. I'm only going to put, actually I'm going to put 3 on, and that is it. because what you don't want is for this to stick to the front that you want to open, because then obviously you're not going to be able to open it. And as I said, it's up to you. You can put your focal, you put it here, you can put it in the middle. I quite like it in the middle, so I'm just going to stick to the middle. Boring, I know, but there you go. And that really is it. And then it's up to you as to how you want to decorate it. So I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I think I'm going to use the Butterfly Gala stamp set to decorate it. You could use something like this or a flower on here directly rather than putting a circle, but I figured because I'm doing butterflies, I wouldn't necessarily want them glued direct to that, because they may not be stable enough to actually hold anything down. So the question is, what butterfly should I use? Let's see. So the Butterfly Gala stamp set, I don't know if you've seen the 24-hour sale. So this is currently on sale with an extra 15% off. So it's a good bargain. The sale runs, it's on now, and it ends at 1 minute to 11 tonight, which to my mind always seems to be a really weird time. But the thing is that our computer systems are actually linked to the European computer systems, so 11 o'clock at night here is midnight in Europe, so we have to remember that. So everyone says, oh yeah, it's from midnight to midnight, and no, it's not. It actually finishes, it started at 11 o'clock last night and it finishes at 1 minute to 11 tonight. Right. And then again, it's up to you how you do your butterfly. So you could stamp them on some coloured cardstock. So in this card we've got, let's see, we've got mint macaron, we've got terracotta tile, we've got a little bit of bumblebee and old olive. But what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to stamp them in black. I'm not sure if you can see this, so I just need to move up a bit. So I'm going to stamp them in black. There's a coordinating punch that goes with this, so it's always worth double checking which way up the punch goes. So I know that I need to slide the paper in from here. So I'm looking at how I would be looking at the punch when I come to punch up. So I know that I need to stamp my images this way up. Otherwise, if you stamp them the other way, you have to cut the cardstock so that you can then get the bit out that you want. You also don't want to be stamping it directly in the middle of your card. So, and then it's a simple question of lining up the images on the punch. So if you have the punch upside down, makes life so much easier. So those are my two images, and then it's up to, I can either use the big one, which is what I think I might do, and then I might put that little one on the sentiment. Now I just realised I didn't bring a black pen, black marker. So there is little bodies in the stamp set. So there's 4 different butterflies. These are the solids, so you could just use simple ink and do 2 steps. So you would stamp this, ink that up, ink these up, and then stamp the other colours. Or you can use watercolour pencils or your stamping blends. It's really up to you how you want to colour them. Now I do have, so I know I have the body for the big one, but somehow the body for the little one has gone walkabouts. Really don't know what's happened to it. It's probably with the little star from another stamp set that went astray a few years back. So I'm just going to stamp the body. So it's actually easier to stamp and then punch out the main body and then go back and put the other part of the body in. Now I might end up taking this out of your view because I can't see it otherwise. There we go. So now it's got its body. And so this little one, I just end up using my black Stampin' Right marker and drawing the body in. So I would put that on there. I'm going to colour it. So question is, what colours should I use? So I brought my Stampin' Right markers in the colours that are actually on the card. I could say talk amongst yourselves whilst I do this, but I'll try and be quick. And the nice thing with actually doing the colouring is obviously you can choose what combination you want to use for which part of the butterfly wings. And the main background on that card is mint macaron, so that's what I thought I would use, and I've just realised I've only used the lighter one, but that's okay, because I can then use the darker one to highlight something else, so I'm going to use it here. Oh. Looks like I actually went there as well. Obviously got a bit carried away with the mint macaron. What else? Do some old olive. So for small stamping like this, I prefer to use the pen nib, so that's the smaller nib, because I can be a little bit more accurate. She says, hoping. No, I'm not looking at comments, so I'm hoping that none of you have got any questions. But obviously, if you do have questions, then shout and let me know. And I will check. So I'm going to put some. Now, the colour that goes with this is actually terracotta tile, but there are no terracotta tile Stampin' Right markers. So what I'm using is actually the Cajun Craze. I figured it's pretty close. I'm nearly done, I think. Go for the dark, I think, just for the sake of being quick. I'll just use the big nib on that bit. Right. Now, this is where I have to look again and see if I've missed something, because I usually have. So that's my butterfly, so I'm going to put him on there, and he can just simply be glued. So I'm folding the wing, I have folded the wings up a bit, and then there's like the little part of the body is where I'm going to glue. You don't need too much, she says, as she puts a great big dollop on it. Do as I say, that old adage. So I'm going to put the butterfly there. Now we need a sentiment. So the butterfly gala stamp set has some, let's see now, has some sentiments. Quite like the little note. Now what did I bring by way? I brought a couple of punches with me. Where is the... Oh, it's in there. So one thing about having these being photopolymers, you can actually put them on top of the punches like this and see how much space you've got to play with. So that would work. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to again stamp that in. I think I'm just going to stamp it in black. She says as she's put it away. Idiot that I am. Sorry, I know I'm talking to myself. It's because we're not face to face. Normally people can hear my comments and will actually make a comment back, like they'll agree with me. I'm going to punch this, sorry, stamp this first onto some Whisper White. Now I've got a horrible suspicion now that I may not have left enough space for it. So again, with the punch upside down, oh no, I'm okay. You can see where this is going to go, and I just realised I've left the lid off the ink and I don't really want this to go into it. So I'm going to punch through like that, so I can put my sentiment there. Now it looks a bit stark to me, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my punch to create a border. I'm trying to see if I can find some scrap of my mint macaron. Don't seem to have any, so well, which is really odd because I actually have so much scrap at home. It's ridiculous. But being at my mum's, I mean, people know how much scrap I've got. I can't very well bring the whole scrap box with me on the off chance that I might want to use it. So what I've done is I've punched out 2 more of the same punch shapes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in half. So I'm going to cut them in half along the length like that, and I'm going to cut them in half across the middle like that. And then what I will do is I will glue them to the back of the sentiment, and you will end up with a mint macaron layer behind it. So let's see now. You just need to be, and you want to apply, just to be aware, you want to apply the glue to the actual sentiment, not to the pieces that you've punched and cut. Only because you want to make sure that you've got the glue in the right place, and you don't want the glue, for example, on this one right at the very edge there, because that's the border that you want to see. I'm going to simply put those, oops. And the nice thing about using the glue is that as it's wet, you can actually move things around until they're in a spot that you like it. So that piece will be okay. And you want to do opposite sides. So if you start with the piece along the bottom, you do the piece along the top next. Similarly, if you start with the side pieces, then you do both sides first. And that's that. And hopefully you can see where I'm going with this. So this is the point where you will actually have to start putting some glue, but you're putting it on the back of the cardstock that you've already glued on there. Check which bit that I was doing. You will find that maybe it looks a bit bigger than it did, or you may want to take off pieces. So let's see. That one moved, that's why. Never mind. But you get the gist. That one's gone that way, that one's gone that way. Ooh. She said, thinking it might still move, but no. Oh yeah, it does. There we go. So it's just another way of using your punches. So you now have a piece which actually I'm not that happy with. These things happen. Right, but I'm going to leave it like that. And then you've still got another little butterfly that you can put on there, or you can add rhinestones or whatever it is that you like. And exactly the same principle to make this applies for whether you're doing the portrait or the landscape like this. So the portrait card, you would simply, it's one of my ones that I've already made, buried in the bag, there we go. So the portrait ones, like this, so this is the equivalent portrait one. Obviously you're cutting your cardstock to make a basic card. So again, you're cutting your, but this time you're cutting your A4 in half at 14.9, so the rest of the A4 is up here. You're going to trim again 2 centimetres off, and then you're going to cut paper to put on there. That's that. So this one, I think I'm going to cheat because I've already made it, I know, but I'm actually just going to simply use the Basket of Blooms, which is another stamp set which is in the sale, and it too has a coordinating punch, so it makes life very simple. So let's see. So I'm going to stamp 2 of the flowers because I want to give it some dimension. So I know I want to go along the edge because I want to make sure that I can get the punch there, because the punch is tiny. It's only a small one. Let's see, what colour shall I do it? So we've got terracotta tile. So let's do a, so this is the light Cajun Cray, so I'm going to do it with that. Just looking up just to make sure that actually that is the light one. And I know what I didn't bring, because there's no bumblebee Stampin' Blend either. So I should have brought a yellow one with me, but I totally forgot. So the idea is that whatever you want to use for the focal point for the latch is that you colour it to coordinate with the paper that you're using. I'm going to use that. Use some mint macaron in the middle there. And then find my punch. I know I've taken it out of the bag, so I'm not quite sure why I'm looking in there. And luckily it's a shape, there we go. Luckily it's a shape that you can quite easily fussy cut out, but like, there's no need to, because as I said, there is a punch. So I've actually stamped all of these onto some thick Whisper White. You could use the thinner stuff, but I thought, seeing as I was using Stampin' Blends, that I would use the thicker stuff. And what you then want to do is, once you've stamped your flower and you've coloured it, you kind of just want to form the flower. So just use your fingers or a bone folder to bend and soften the paper a bit. The paper might be already a bit soft because you've used the Stampin' Blends on it. And then you're going to glue these together. Like so. So like that. Oops, she says as it falls apart. Obviously maybe it's a better idea to actually leave it to dry before trying picking it up. But I think that should do it. And then you're going to glue that again to your focal point. So that will then, right, I think everything's just trying to defeat me today. I'm having one of those days. but never mind, it's not the end of the world. Maybe I'll just put it on there and leave it and then come back to it later once it's dried properly. Right, so there you go. So that's my focal point on that one. And again, a sentiment, if you want to, it's entirely up to you what you want to do. So that's it. As I said, the two stamp sets I've used today are the Basket of Blooms and also the Butterfly Gala. I have some other ones here which are in the sale today. So if you would like any of the stamp sets that are available with the 15% off today, then please shop at my online store, which you can find through oakfieldcrafts.com, and then just click on online store at the top, or email me, phone me before 8 p.m. tonight with your order, because I will be placing an order this evening for some other bits and pieces that I want. And that's it. So I will be back next week with another card. If you want to purchase if you want to purchase the Basket of Blooms or any of the stamp sets that are on sale today, then I will send you a little kit with pre-cut cardstock for a portrait card. So you will get the DSP and you will get the basic white and the layers. So the layers, if I put the layers on, it would look like this. So you will get that so that you can make one of these cards yourself, and then obviously it's up to you as to what you want to put on your focal point. And that's it, and I hope to see you same time next week. Take care. Bye.